Hello, and welcome to Holistically Whole, LLC. My name is Lauren. I am a registered nurse and a holistic medicine practitioner. Today's video is food tips for traveling with dietary restrictions. I am making this video today for anyone with any sort of dietary restrictions, whether they are intolerances, allergies, sensitivities, chosen diets, or required diets for any health reasons. And today I narrowed it down to 3 tips that I really think will make a difference when traveling with any kind of dietary restriction. The 3 tips that we're going to be talking about today are: number 1, prep, prep, prep. Number 2, account for cravings. And number 3, minimize eating out. First, we will talk about number 1, prep, prep, prep. Especially where prep is involved, driving to the location allows you to do more copious prepping. If time allows before your trip, prep as many meals as you can before you leave. Not only does this help with compliance to your diet, but it will save you a lot of money while you're traveling as well. Choose foods that will reheat well and stay good in refrigeration for several days. Get creative with your storage containers. I try to be as sustainable as possible and prefer glass to plastic, so I like to use a mixture of mason jars and Elo Duraglass glass food storage containers. I will link both of these products in the description below. For our most recent trip, I made a large batch of creamy rosemary and white bean soup and a small batch of silky zucchini soup for most of our lunches, and chickpea pasta with a doctored up version of Rao's pasta sauce, aka I just added extra veggies, for our dinners. In addition to prepping for the trip, make sure to prep or bring along materials for car lunches for the number of days you will be in the car. For us, that was going to be 1 day of travel there and 1 day of travel back. So I prepped and packed accordingly. My boyfriend Ira made himself a PB&J for the trip, and I brought along dates and sunflower butter. If you have not tried that yet, dipping dates in any nut or seed butter is super yummy, filling, and easy to bring and eat in the car. Overall, a huge benefit to doing all this prep work is that you actually get to spend a lot more time doing whatever you traveled to do, because you don't have to spend the extra time to travel to a food location, order the food, wait for the food, and eat it. This was extremely beneficial to us at our most recent trip because we only had 30-minute breaks between each class, so we were able to get a healthy, filling meal in and make it on time to all of our classes. #win! Second, we will talk about accounting for cravings. Cravings are just something that is super human and super natural, and if we can plan ahead for them, we can stop them from totally messing with our diet. The first piece of advice for this would be to think about typical cravings that you personally have. And this is different for everybody, so think about those, and I'll give the example for myself. For me, it would be salty cravings, savory cravings, sugary sweet cravings, and chocolatey sweet cravings. Then you want to make sure you pack foods that fit into all of these categories so that you're not at a random gas station at a random part of your trip and everything just crumbles and you totally cave on whatever your diet restrictions are. And not only is packing for your cravings helpful on your car ride, but it's really, really helpful when you're at your final destination as well. So that means you need to pack enough different foods for your cravings, not only for the car ride, but also for the extent of your trip. So for my salty, I packed Snyder's gluten-free pretzel sticks, Sprouts Picante plantain chips, Vegan Rob's probiotic cauliflower puffs, and sea salt popcorners. For my savory, I packed gluten-free beef sticks and gluten-free salmon and venison jerky bites. For my sugary sweet, I packed kettle-cooked popcorners, Navita's organic cacao goji power snacks, and gluten-free fruit snacks. Finally, for my chocolatey sweet, I packed Trader Joe's sunflower butter cups and a couple endangered species dark chocolate with forest mint bars. All of the following foods we talked about satisfied any craving that I had through the entire car rides of our trip and through the entirety of the trip, and I didn't have to break my diet once. Third and lastly, we are going to talk about minimizing eating out. If it can be avoided, try not to eat out. Preparing the foods yourself is really one of the best ways to ensure that everything fits your dietary needs and that nothing has been cross-contaminated with anything that you cannot have. When it is unavoidable and you have to eat out, or you just really want to treat yourself and eat out, the best thing you can do is call ahead if possible. Tell them about your dietary restrictions and ask them what is on their menu or what items are on their menu that you would be able to eat with your dietary restrictions. It is also helpful to tell them approximately when you're going to be coming in their restaurant so they know when to expect those dietary restrictions. And if you can help it, try to avoid those peak hours so that the cooking staff and the wait staff does not get overwhelmed. Now, for those with really severe sensitivities, the safest play is to call ahead, as I mentioned, but also to order your food plain and then bring your own seasonings and or sauces that you can add yourself to your food. That is a great way to ensure that it is not cooked with anything that you can't have, but also that you still get flavors that you enjoy. Worst comes to worst, if there is a restaurant that you have to go to that pretty much has nothing that you can eat, then you can call them and see if they mind you bringing in your own food. So literally bringing in just a meal of your own that you know that you can eat, or ask them if you can do sort of a half and half thing, like, hey, I can eat like these things on your menu, but not the majority of the rest. So can I bring in, say quinoa and order this and this off your menu to have with it? That is super helpful, in addition to like your own seasonings and sauces and stuff. I am actually going to give you a recent example of how I've used the tip I just mentioned myself. So we are actually going out tonight, not the day that you're watching this, but the day that I'm recording this, for a friend's birthday, and we're going to get sushi. Something that I cannot have right now is rice. I also cannot have gluten. So as you all know, a lot of sushi is rice, and also a lot of soy sauce and stuff like that, which most soy sauces, unless they are gluten-free, have gluten in them. And the gluten-free soy sauces typically have rice in them. So I'm able to use tamari sauce or cocoa aminos right now. So I'm actually gonna bring them myself. But anyway, I went ahead and called the restaurant and explained exactly as I did above that I have some severe food sensitivities. This is what they are. Is there anything that I can eat on your menu? And or are you okay that I bring in a tub of quinoa? Because I'd love to get the little fillets of fish that you put on nigiri. And the woman on the phone actually said, oh, well, we do a cucumber bowl if that's something that you would like. It's not on the menu, but we can definitely make that for you and put whatever fish and vegetables that you would like. So I got super excited because I didn't even think they would be able to make me any kind of roll, but I wouldn't have known if I didn't give them a call. I will be preparing 3 sauces to bring with me. One is a vegan sriracha mayo. The second one is tamari sauce, so it's gluten-free, kind of a soy sauce substitute, like I mentioned. And the third one is gonna be a sweet chili sauce, because they do have edamame on their menu, steamed edamame, and I'm gonna get it plain and steamed and add my own sweet chili sauce, so I know that the sweet chili sauce on there is gluten-free. In conclusion, I'm super excited because I'm still gonna be able to go out and participate in this friend's dinner, and it's not gonna be a huge deal. Now that we've talked about all these wonderful tips, I will conclude by just saying that some of these tips may seem a little extreme for people who don't have severe food sensitivities or diet restrictions, but I really do think that any of these tips can be helpful for anybody traveling with dietary restrictions. The following tips are what has personally worked for me, but the best part about tips is that you can pick and choose the tips that work the best for you. But above all, just remember that you are doing your best, and that traveling with dietary restrictions is very, very challenging and very hard. So just give yourself a little grace and know that you are trying your best, and that at the end of the day, everything will be okay. So thank you for listening to my video today. If you liked the content, please give this video a thumbs up, and you can click the bell icon if you want to get notified every time I post a video. Thank you, and toodaloo!